What's up, guys? We're recording our Christmas special.
Welcome to OmEn Online. We're back. This is our Christmas episode. I think it's going to be a great time. We've got Marianne back.
Yay!
We always enjoy having her with us. I think this is going to be a great time. Enjoy having you guys with us. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Don't forget to hit that notification bell.
And don't forget to adjust your camera because it's like pointing the wrong direction.
Who, mine?
There you go. Much better. Much better. Yeah, hit that notification bell. You get the little ding ding every time we get a new show, new episode up. Ah, ding ding. Oh, man. Great having you with us.
Now, when we go back after the promo's done, don't forget to plug the rest of the stuff.
And for all you joining on BLive right now, we're filming an episode of OmEn Online. So you get to see us while we're recording and get to see all our mess ups. Any outtakes that happen, you get it up front. Feel free to type in and, comment if you got any ideas, anything to say about what we're talking about. Feel free. Just comment right in. Alright. And we're back. OmEn Online. Of course,
What's up?
Again, me, Johnny, Marianne. We're just sitting here talking about Christmas. And I was trying to think of, we're actually getting up there in age, so.
I don't know about you.
Well, we're older than her, remember?
Look,
How old are you? I've never actually asked that.
Don't you know it's rude to ask a female her age?
Oh.
Don't you know
How old are you
I don't
not?
really care.
I'm old enough to know better.
Stupid enough to still do it.
Obviously,
Stupid
you're
enough to
younger
still
than
not
us.
care.
Obviously, you're younger than us. Me and Johnny are getting up there in age. We're a month apart.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Yeah, he's a little over a month older than me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how old are you, Johnny?
I'm 38.
Well, you got a couple years of me.
But, once you hit a certain age, you don't really think about what you want for Christmas anymore. You think about things that other people want for Christmas. So I think I'd like to ask you guys, what would you want for Christmas if you could write Santa right now and get anything you want?
That's a loaded question.
I'll tell you right now.
we're going anything you want within reason, and that's still a loaded question.
Well, personally, myself, I just want my kid to have a good Christmas. You know
That's
what I'm
awesome.
saying? I don't really care what I get, if I get anything for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd rather just, I like seeing other people happy around then. It makes me happy because I have manic depression, and I've suffered with it for a long time. And during the holidays, I get sad, so seeing other people happy kind of gets me out of that sadness.
Right. I can understand that.
Because every, holiday that comes around, I sit here and think about people that I wish were there and they're not with us anymore. Or, I don't get to see them because they're so far away. So things like that just get me a little down. But then seeing other people being happy about things and, it just makes me a little happier.
Right.
It proves to me I'm not as dead inside as I think I am.
Man, I feel that. I feel that, and I completely get where you're coming from. I feel the love. It's at some point it's like your mind switches to seeing other people happy. You've lived your life, and I don't know if it's you're like frustrated with how things are, or you just feel like you've had yours and you have love for other people, whether it be your children, your family, and you just want to see them happy, and that makes a holiday worthwhile. It makes it something special. And I think that's awesome.
That, and I like it if somebody gives me toys. I like toys.
You
They're
like
fun.
toys, man. I know you. You're a big Power Ranger fan. I remember, what was it? Was it a few months ago? No, actually.
It was during March or something
yeah, that's
like
what I was going to
that.
say. It was April, March.
It was March because it was, right at the end of February because it was right before my son's birthday when I bought all those Power Rangers for him for his birthday from that one vendor.
But you didn't give him all of them.
Oh, I gave him all of them.
Oh, I thought you said he already had one, so you got one. Oh, no, that's what it is. He had one at his other house, so he had an extra one at your house.
Exactly, and any extras that were in the bag, he keeps one at my house, and he got to take one home.
That's awesome. See, and that's awesome that you and we know that now our people online know that you and your ex-wife have separated, the mother of your children. Sorry to put that out there, but it's awesome.
They'll find out anyway.
My point being, it's awesome that you've actually come to an understanding and can work together and realize it's about the kids. It's not about what you want right now. It's about the kids, so you have to put things aside.
Okay, so how the hell do you get her to do that? Because I can't get my ex to do that.
My ex-wife makes more money than me.
Okay.
And she doesn't really need for a lot of things. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it works out better that way if we get along. So there are times where I just go with it and don't complain, even if it's not something I really agree with. But if it's not a bad disagreement,
right,
I don't complain about it.
Like, is this teachable?
Now, don't they say pick and choose your battles too?
They do.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If it's something that's, you know, you want time with your kid, but you understand she wants time with your all's kid too. Sometimes you have to let things go so that you might be able to get something you want later on that's even more important than that.
I think
Exactly.
communication and compromise would be.
Hey, that's it. If the world understood that, we wouldn't have, here in America, we wouldn't have the Democrats and Republicans arguing constantly, and we might actually be able to build the country, you know. Stupid stuff, but let's stay away from politics.
Please.
I don't want to touch that. But it's simple things like division of whatever, for whatever reason, race, creed, color, religion, what the fuck ever. We all nowadays seem to want to find a reason to divide instead of a reason to unify. And
You know what I think then? I say Crowder 2020. Make America better than it was before.
Oh, putting me on the spot.
Always make it better than it was.
Hey, that's truth. That's the truth. Be better every day in every way, even if it's just a pinch better than you were yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just that little bit, insignificant bit, you're making progress forward, and that's awesome.
So in recovery, they keep teaching us and thumping it in our heads because, you know, we're stubborn and we don't learn the easy way. That, you know, you just got to keep doing the next right thing. And the right thing isn't always easy.
And that doesn't mean we don't make mistakes along the way.
I know, but, I mean, you are not the same person you were yesterday, let alone 2 weeks ago.
Right.
As long as you are continuing to try to make yourself better and not be a shitty person, honestly.
That's it. That's it.
I try to tell people, you should try to learn one new thing every day, be it something small and insignificant.
Yeah.
You know, I try to learn a new word from another language at work every other day at least. I try to learn one word. You know, I may not remember it, but I learned it, so maybe later on I might hear somebody say it, and it's like, oh yeah.
See, I do that a lot. Like where I work at the clothing store. The clothing store.
You don't work there. You mean
I own it, yeah. But point being, I have a lot of customers that come in who are of different nationalities. You know, they might be new here in America, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but their comprehension of the English language may be just good enough, and it makes them feel a little more comfortable if I can come out with just a little bit to help them. You know what I'm saying? If I know enough to tell them in Spanish how much the price is, and I can point them to a right area, and, you know, I can get them a general idea of what's going on, it gives them that little bit more understanding and makes them more comfortable.
Yep.
You know, it's not just expecting other people to be you. It's making the effort to come together.
It's kind of like I was explaining to something to my son the other day about the Tower of Babel. I think I said it wrong, but
Tower of Babel.
I was saying, I was telling him because he asked me why there are so many different languages. Well, I'm an atheist, agnostic atheist.
Right.
Okay, but my thing is, I refuse to believe in that, but I don't hate other people for what they believe as long as they're being good people and not, hurting and stuff like that.
Oh.
But I explained to them, if you go by what the Bible says, the Tower of Babel, they tried to build a tower to reach heaven or whatever, and, God basically cursed them all because he made them all speak different languages so they couldn't continue to work together.
Right.
And if you ask me, that's kind of a dick move. But that's just my personal opinion.
I feel it, but I look at it from more less religious standpoint and more like, you'd almost say scientific, but scientific, philosophical combined together.
But the way I explained it to him as that, too, the same way you're explaining it.
Right.
I explained all that to him, too.
Right.
We're all in different places. You really think someone on this side of the world is going to come up with the same exact language as this person over here?
If you actually research the languages, you realize that they are adaptations of the same language, and you can see the evolution of it as it traveled across the world. Even here in America, if you're in the East Coast, you're speaking a different dialect, they call it, than someone in the Southwest.
Well, see, I'm from Ohio, and I've been down here for 10 years, but some people still say I talk funny because I enunciate things more properly than they do down here in Kentucky.
And that tends to be, the further east you go, the more prominent that trait is. The original colonies, the British colonies, people had that culture. Now, like I was saying, you go southwest, you have what, I don't even know if this is a good term, but you have Spanglish. Where they take English and Spanish.
That was a good movie.
Tie them together. And you might be talking a whole sentence in English and then 2 words in Spanish, and that just shows the evolution of our language. If you look at English in America and you go to English in the UK, sure, we can understand each other, but we're using different words,
different dialects.
But the biggest problem with people, though, is that we don't look at the similarities, we look at the differences, and we focus on those differences.
And that's awful.
Instead of those similarities.
But at the same time, you should be looking at those differences and finding out what's good about those differences.
And that's another, that's
those
awesome
differences
too.
Are great, but I mean, if you can identify with somebody and be able to find the similarities, like when I first met you, I identified with you because of the Juggalo. Right there, I identified with you, and right off the bat, you're good people.
Right.
And you know what? I've been cool with Johnny ever since I started working with him over there at Cardinal.
That's awesome.
And all it took was just seeing his tattoo. I identified with him.
That's cool. You found a similarity, even though you seemed at first glance maybe as different people. You found a similarity and started communicating, and that's freaking awesome. I mean, it's like I was having a conversation with the lady that runs our women's section this morning, and she was complaining, and we hear this a lot from even our circle, how the rich don't identify with the working class, and like, I'd like to see this rich businessman. She was speaking about somebody in particular I'd like not to name, but how I'd like to see this rich businessman put in a hard day's labor building a house or something like that. And I'm like, well, I'd like to see this guy who builds houses do this man's job. It actually goes both ways. Different. And the thing is, we cannot build a strong community without a bunch of different people with different specialized traits. So we all need to recognize that we can all do different things. Say, Johnny, say you can do more physical labor, and say I can do more mental labor. Well, guess what? Using those muscles actually burns the same amount of calories and puts the same amount of stress on your system, just on different muscles. Okay? And then you have another ability to where you can I'm looking for something that ain't gonna get me in trouble for stereotyping, you know what I'm saying? But quite simply, you have another skill that neither one of us can do.
Detail.
And working together.
Yes, I have attention to detail.
That's awesome.
I do that with certain things.
Sometimes I get disorganized in my mind and have trouble getting all the details completed. So that's excellent. Say you have one skill, you have one skill, I have one skill. Together,
We all
have
have
a skill set that allows us to build something stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something people need to recognize. Even the working class talking about the rich, and the rich talking about the working class, and the scientists talking about the sports players, and the sports players talking about, well, I should be the whatever. I don't care. I'm just throwing things out there. We all have different skill sets that, when put together, builds higher society and helps us grow and live better lives
And elevate to a higher plane.
And that's it. We all got to understand we all have to elevate. Where if her attention to detail puts her in charge of a certain thing, that if she gets it in her head that she's better than you who built the building that her business is sitting in, and it creates division. Where if you understand, well, I can't have this office that I'm doing my detail work in if it wasn't for this guy, so I'm going to make sure he's living just as good as me.
Yeah. And so, even wrap that around the holidays, I mean, people...
Oh, back to Christmas.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Right on Christmas stuff. Like, I did have to wrap that around back to the holidays. A lot of us, we come together during the holidays. That's the only time we ever come together.
Right.
And that division and that...
Well, a good term for that is, a good example of that is, think of Ghostbusters 2. The ooze under the city because of all the bad, negative stuff. But then right at the beginning of New Year's, everyone's coming together and it helps stop all the bad stuff.
Right, that's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't just be one or 2 days out of the year.
I heard you. You said it.
Yes.
It is the law of attraction.
It's putting that energy out and receiving what you put out.
See, where you were talking about your kids and just wanting to see people happy for the holidays. Like, I mean, yes, I want my kids with me. I mean, I'd love to be able to get along with my ex-husband, but that's a work in progress. Either way, like, I don't have my mom for Christmas. I don't have any family. My kids are my family. So, I mean, for me, I want to be able to just be around my kids and family. And, a lot of us, we forget to reach out to those people that we don't think about on a daily basis, but we see every day.
Now, you brought up something else that brings me to another good point. When we're looking at the family and we just stay so far apart nowadays, and we'll get together on holidays and pretend to get along, you know what I'm saying? But really, your blood family just is becoming more and more distant.
No, I have.
And I had a conversation with someone, and an idea come to me right as I'm talking to him, and I just spit it out. Think about this, all right? Now, we want to protect our kids from abuse. But we've made it to where you can't even punish your kid without it being termed abuse. All right? Now, follow me here.
Okay.
This comes to a really good point. Parents nowadays, instead of punishing their kids, are going, don't do that, and then taking a step back. You're not supposed to do that, further back. The parents are separating themselves from their kids without even realizing it, because they're afraid they're going to get put in jail for punishing their kids, and this happens consistently.
And the problem is, when you don't punish your kids when they're young and start teaching them, then you grow up and what happens? They end up in prison or jail half the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And is a whole nother
right
issue.
From wrong.
We got CPS.
But
CPS is an awful setup. It's a good idea for children that need it, but the way it's set up, guess how they make their money?
Guess what?
For each kid taken away from their parents.
Yeah,
How can you pay somebody for that? Just give them money just to be the protector. Don't give them bonuses for taking them away.
Okay, I have a little personal experience in that one. See,
right, okay.
me being an addict, I'm in recovery. However, I'm still trying to get my kids back. You know, the CPS is supposed to be there to help the kids, help the parents, reunify, and reunification is always the plan. But, my caseworker for 2 years, I had my head up my ass for a while. I know my part to where when I lost my kids, I had got to the same level of I wanted to get high just as much as I want my kids because I did a downward spiral, and I find my part in that. But then when I finally did pull my head out of my ass and I went to treatment and I've been clean and I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing, the only thing that I need to get my kids home right now is my own place. That while I work my ass off, and really I don't have a horrible paying job. However, I can't come up with 2 pieces to make financial to be able to actually get into my own place.
Right.
Dude,
And
I
then-
totally feel that.
I mean, I need help, and I'm tired. They want to sit there and they
No.
want to tell you to sit still, and they say, "Oh, we're here to help you." But you know what? I've been begging for help this entire time. I'm sick of asking for help and not getting any results.
Right.
I haven't been asking for help before I got in trouble, which is what led to me getting in trouble. And then now that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm on a timeline, and the only piece I have left to do is be able to have a home that I just have trouble coming up with enough money to be able to do that. Say I can't afford the deposit and the first month's rent at once. You know what? That's the only thing preventing me from having my kids home for Christmas.
And you know what's crazy about that? Just a few years ago, just a few years back, I had a 2-bedroom apartment with the mother of my children. She was just pregnant at the time, but
That's been more than a few years, dude.
that's been 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, but 13 years ago, we had that living situation, could afford it. That same apartment nowadays
Can't.
is more than 1.5 times in expense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people make the same amount of minimum wage. Now, raising the minimum wage is not the solution either.
No, because it raises the cost of living.
It raises the cost of living more than the money you make.
Mm-hmm. Everything else goes up because then they have to raise
Because
their
the
prices to
companies
pay
have to
their
raise their-
employees.
Right. We're just stuck in a bad inflationary cycle that's about to blow up. I don't see any way it's not going to blow up.
But see, even with like CPS though, these are places that should be able to help somebody.
Yeah.
And you know what? They have funding, but I've asked my caseworker a million times to help me.
Well, I was talking to somebody else about this, and this is based around your addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're actually feeding addiction on society.
Mm-hmm.
We're prescribing opiates in massive numbers, and you're going to get addicted to those if you take them regularly, which is what your prescription tells you to do.
So just remember,
right?
make sure your houses are protected because those people might come for your shit for Christmas.
That's
Look,
true.
as
Why
addicts,
do I
we're
tell?
all
I can't.
people.
No, dude. I
No,
know
we're-
it's fucking true
we're
because
very
it's
simple.
happened to me before.
Right.
It's that time of the year. We know what goes on. I was never that person. I didn't do anything crazy or stupid, but
But we have lived
addiction
that
takes us
life.
to different places.
We have lived that life. We've been around those people, and we understand that is where they go. Whether they take the presents to give to their family, or they take it to sell to somebody else to get their drugs. But hell, right here we got needle exchange, right?
Mhm.
Free needle exchange, completely illegal to do dope like that.
Oh, they still go to jail for carrying a needle.
But
With needle
we
exchange.
give them needles.
Yeah.
Right? And I had another friend who was talking to me. It's like, oh, it's to control the epidemic of diseases, whether it be AIDS or Hep C. And I was like, okay, you really think that'll control the disease? All right. One, you're making it okay for them to do it, even if it's just one step. All right. Two, your needle exchange is not 24/7. So guess what? They're still going to reuse needles because they're going to use whenever they feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
3, you don't deliver, and most addicts don't have constant transportation.
And not only that, you don't deliver the shit. So, like you said, they're not even gonna want to go half the time. Oh, I gotta go all the way across town to change out this needle that I could just use right now.
I'm sick right now.
Well, see,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about needles because I never did
Well,
anything
we're just
like
using that as
But
an-
see,
I
I
don't
know
either,
how
but-
accessible that they can be, that they get more than one at a time.
I don't know.
I don't know
They
how
do.
many they give them.
I've been around enough addicts to know that they do get more than one at a time. However, these people, we actually need help because honestly,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
we forget about people that really need help. And to be able to look at them, they are somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's mother.
And society is about taking away from these people, whether it be CPS, I'm going to take your children. Make you feel even worse, make you want to use.
Do you know what one of the downfalls of the family
put
was?
you in jail and take away your time. You know what I'm saying? So you get out, you've already lost everything because you've ain't been able to pay your rent, so you don't have an apartment, you lost everything you own. Now I'm going to kick you out on the streets with nothing, make you want to use.
The jails around here,
Yeah.
I've sat in these jails a couple of different times, and you know what? It's just a bunch of addicts. That's all it is. Petty bullshit.
Do you know what the fall of the American family is? What the fall of the American family was?
What do you think?
Personally, I look at it like this. When, and don't take this the wrong way as a misogynistic thing, people, okay? When the mother had to leave the house to go to work. Back then. Now, and like I said, because when the mother could stay home and the father went and worked his ass off and was able to provide for his entire family and still have extra money.
Yeah, let's put this in there. It could go either way. If you have a guy who is fairly feminine and you have him with a butch woman, well, maybe the woman's the worker and the
Well, I'm not saying nothing about
either
that.
way, there's a
But
two-parent household,
Uh-huh.
one working, one staying home.
Exactly. That. Thank you. That's actually what I was going
Yay.
for.
And there you are. You have a skill set that works towards the whole. And actually, me and the mother of my children did that. I worked at a factory job. She was a stay-at-home. You know, and she took care of the kids, and she cleaned the house and prepared the food, and I worked overtime to make sure we had money so that she could do that. But I did one thing. I did one thing that most people don't. I understand that she is working too. So when I got my check, I took my check, I paid all the bills. Anything left over was spending money, right? So I cut it in half's yours, half mine. Our living expenses are covered, and we have an equal portion of the money. That comes back to respecting each other's skill sets.
And see, that's how it used to be able to work. One person went to work, one could stay home, take care of the house and the kids and all the errands and things. And that was considered their job. And the husband would usually pay them, you know, like you did, like you said. It would go that way, or she would just, like my uncle went to work. She handled all the finances and stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
She had an awesome skill set.
Exactly.
Something they don't teach in school anymore either.
Dude, seriously, I'm so glad I was during school during a time when home ec was still available, because that right there taught me so much stuff, which, I mean, yeah, my family, my parents, my brothers and sisters, all that, yeah, they taught me a lot of that stuff too. But there were certain things that they didn't teach me because they didn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I learned them in school at home ec. I learned how to sew in home ec. I learned how to cook little treats that you could make real easy on your own. You know, I learned how to do a bunch of different things in there. I learned how to make no-bake cookies and stuff. You know, these were all things that, you know, most kids at that age, at that time, still weren't really, well, some of them were allowed to cook, you know, but not everyone was. You know, nowadays, everybody just wants to throw it in the microwave and call it a day, or grab something from the fast food, which, I ain't gonna lie, I do the same thing.
Me too, I'm guilty. But
I try to have, like, especially when I'm working during the week, you know, I try to have at least a decent lunch, you know what I'm saying, for my lunch for work.
I can steal all the fat cakes anyway.
I've just recently started home cooking meals again. Honestly, we had a really hot summer. I didn't want to stand for the stove. I ain't gonna lie. So we went fast food crazy. But I just started cooking again, and it makes you feel better.
I like to cook. I
Me
love
too.
to cook for other people. Like, I could never work in a restaurant just because that's just too much.
I used to cook all the time at one of my jobs because I worked in the food industry for like 16 years. So after a couple years, I just got tired of cooking all. Like, it was like I go to work, I cook. I come home, I gotta cook. So I would usually just grab something to eat on the go. You know, so I got used to that for a while.
Right.
But nowadays, now that I don't work in the food industry anymore, I do cook more, just not during the week when I'm working because I don't have the time to cook. So somebody else cooks it for me, or I buy something to eat.
Right.
But during the weekends, I try to cook as much as possible because cooking at home is way cheaper than eating out all the time. You know, I've made meals off of $10 that fed 5 people versus if I went somewhere fast food wise, the only way I'm going to feed everybody is to give them freaking chickens for $10.
Well, you think I'm always at work with a pizza because it's smash and grab.
Your large combo meal now is close to $10 at your cheapest places.
So
you know, so like,
and if you're like me, I eat more than one burger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm not fat, but you know I like to eat and I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying?
But that goes back to home ec. We taught kids to cook, and we could actually live less expensively if we cooked. Now, a large portion of our youth don't know how to cook other than microwaves, you know, and what's already prepared and more expensive.
But see, all that stuff does things to our bodies as well. But I mean, I'm not even going to get into that. However, you know, I think that if I could ask for something for Christmas that was not for me, because everybody has that, oh, I want this. Yeah, I want my kids, and I just want to be able to have something very simple. But ultimately, if I could ask for something for just everybody in general, is to be understanding and compassionate and actually give a shit about one another. Because nowadays, people stand there with a phone and video record somebody else at their worst. They don't lend a helping hand. They don't give a crap
Bill
about...
and Ted said it best. Be excellent to each other.
I mean, just...
That's awesome.
Honestly, like, you want to talk about religion earlier, and, you know, I can say that if you look at all the Bibles and all the religions, they are all based off the same thing.
We've said that before in some of our episodes.
And, you know, I'm more of a spiritual religion. I don't really have a religion. I can grasp different things.
I feel that. I don't look for where everything's different. I look for where everything's the same, and every major religion has one thing in common. That's the golden rule.
None of them can explain dinosaurs to me, though.
What?
I feel
dinosaurs, okay? Nobody can ever explain where dinosaurs
came
from.
No. Ken Ham thinks he can explain where dinosaurs came from.
It's called that they were... It's just... I'm not going to go there right now.
No. They say at the Ark thing that there's actually... They have in there where dinosaurs were along with humans. I'm like, no, dude.
No, they weren't. Because
I'm not even going to diss anybody else's belief. I'm just going to say what we all have in common.
Is
the
that
thing
we
we all
believe in
have
something
in common
greater than ourselves.
is
the golden rule.
All major religions have the golden rule. It's just do unto others as you would have done unto you, you know. It's pretty much don't be a douche to your neighbor because you wouldn't want your neighbor being a douche to you, right?
I used to have that saying, you know, remember the WWJD bracelets they brought out?
Yeah.
What would Jesus do? Mine was always, what would Johnny do?
Well, see, what Johnny would do, it depends if he's supervised or not.
Yeah.
Well,
we got to
yeah.
supervise.
But see, I think if we actually look at being able to treat people the way we want to be treated, because I'm sorry, I don't treat you any way that I don't want to be treated.
Yeah.
And if we treat each other with the same dignity and respect we expect and want to be treated with, and actually, I don't know, be nice to somebody.
Yeah.
Take action. Like, no, you don't have to bend over backwards to dig somebody out of a hole that they buried themselves in, but you don't need to enable them, but you don't also need to...
And you don't need to put them down for it either.
Because you know what? Even me as an addict, you know what? Yeah, I know I'm an addict, but you know what? I don't need to be beat down for it. I know I'm sick.
Well, it's like I've said before.
But, I mean, we're all different.
Everyone's an addict to something.
Yes, but see, where we focus so much on... We fear things that we don't understand.
Right.
So, I would honestly wish that people would be less afraid of something that they don't understand.
Yeah.
And be more adaptable to the idea that we are the same. I don't care where you're from, what color you are. I don't care if you're pink with fucking purple polka dots.
Dude, I'd totally hang out with that person.
Like,
yeah,
just to say I had a friend that was purple with pink polka dots.
Right? But I mean, we still come down to the same core beliefs that we feel, we think, and we exist. It's
Yeah.
one life.
It's what drives you is always love, whether it's love of something. It could be,
And
honestly, it could be your addiction. It could be love of your addiction,
Well,
but
see, I've
you
always-
want to feel.
Even that, I've always felt different then in a way that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So to even say that, I've always felt I've placed my own, like, there's something wrong in my head that I don't understand.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand why I can't stop myself because I have a default setting that I don't fucking get, quite honestly.
Mhm.
Like, you can stop and play the tape for a minute and go, oh, this probably isn't really going to be a good idea. No, I don't have a pause button. And I don't know, I know it's wrong. Like, I know that if I do this, this, and this, it's not going to be very good.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be really stupid. But presented with me and having piss poor coping skills, apparently, that,
That's the one thing I love about the haunted house industry.
it's very
Is because you get to do a lot of that stuff and you don't have to think about it.
See, it's
No.
good to have a release.
Exactly, like
good
she said,
to
Coping
vent.
skills.
It's like therapy for some people.
Yes.
Because we get to do things and say things to people to mess with them, and we don't really get in trouble for it like we would out on the street.
Right.
No, people on the street just think I'm fucking crazy as shit. But
Yeah.
really, hell, you've seen me at work from working at the haunt to now. Like, I'm a whole mess right now. I got stressed with the kids, the holidays coming up, not having any family around,
And then when you're working in during the
At the same time, from the
It's-
time I met you, and then you started working at the haunt,
Mhm.
completely different. Completely different.
because
And
she
it's
had an
cool.
outlet to get out some of her.
Exactly. You had a lot of pressure built up, and you had a chance to release it. Again, that's what I love about the haunted house too. It's something. That
I really
lets
just
you-
wish that people could come together and.
Like butt cheeks.
I
It'd be the
mean,
shit.
You're right, and I was, as I was saying on my crypto show, just last night actually. The world is continually getting smaller. All right, you got to think. First, we were walking on two legs. It took forever to get a certain distance. Then we started getting horses and chariots. We got somewhere faster. We get cars. They don't get tired. We get there faster. We get faster cars. We get there faster. We get airplanes. Now we're able to travel the world in a day, pretty much 2 days.
Yeah.
And then we get phones. We can talk to our family. If we move halfway across the country, we can
My
talk to our
sister, when she
family.
was living in Norway,
When your
we
sister-
used to video chat and shit on the
Right.
phones and stuff and pads.
The world is getting smaller
the world is getting more scared and hateful of each other.
because we're getting smaller and we're getting into contact more often. If you go even 30 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't as connected, and you were more or less in your knit community.
Yeah.
And anything outside of your community would seem weird. It could be the town next door and you'd have conflict. And then all of a sudden, that town next door became part of your town.
Mhm.
And then it was the state next door was the conflict. And then that state becomes part of this country. And then you're moving further. Now it's the countries bordering us or the countries we interact with. And it's just going to keep getting smaller.
It's a big game of risk.
It is. And,
It's all because Thanos said it well. There is only a finite amount of resources,
there
and
is.
if we don't protect the resources and find renewable ways, we're gonna end up using up all our
We're
resources
gonna end up
and dead.
We're gonna end up dead anyway because if you honestly look at it on a scientific standpoint, the sun is a star. It's a big red giant who's gonna burn out.
It's going to
Eventually.
die.
Oh, it's not a red giant.
yet.
No,
But-
almost a red giant.
It's a yellow
But-
giant.
But you are right. In millions, billions of years, whatever, we will eventually die. But by that
If we don't kill each
time,
other first.
by that
At
time,
this point,
we
should be in
out
space,
in the
yeah.
stars and be able to move on, create our own habitats.
Because here's the thing, my uncle used to talk about this, and he was a real big space guy. Chuck's dad. Well, he would say, the only real frontier that we need to really look forward to is moving out into space. Because here's the thing, anytime, at any point, an asteroid could hit us, destroy us. You know, the radiation, the cosmic waves, whatever, could come in and fucking just take us out.
It destroys the planet.
Well, the thing is, the only way to stop that is to move around and colonize different areas, because if Earth gets destroyed and we haven't left yet, human race is gone.
Okay, but if we can't coexist on one planet without wanting to kill each other, because I mean, if you're one country and I'm one country,
it's been stated before, and where you're going is a good statement. But what will happen before all that happens is there will either be the aliens will show up, or there will be a fake alien invasion to bring the whole world together.
There will be something that will unite the world. There will be something that will unite the world. If we have a common cause, it'll bring us together. If it destroys us to a point where we become isolated again, it'll be starting all over. But if we work together, just like we were talking about with our specialized skill sets, if we work together and come together as one, we will understand that we can work together, even being different, and succeed.
See, that's actually getting people to understand and see the similarities, not the differences.
And that's why he was talking about, he's saying aliens, I'm talking about any event. You know what I'm saying?
I was just using that as an example.
Let's just say Yellowstone.
Yeah,
Yellowstone explodes.
The super volcano,
The super volcano explodes. Well, we better work together if we want to be a living race, because that's going to potentially block out the sun, kill the plants, make a super ice age, all kinds of things that can potentially do.
Simple as the beast. Without bees.
Oh, God. Oh, dude, my son had me watch the Bee movie the other day. And I will tell you this. That movie was so factual in it. And I'm sitting here going, they're putting real facts out there for little kids.
And that's a good thing.
It is. But they do. Oh, go ahead.
My oldest son, he's in foster care. And his foster parents, they're beekeepers.
That's cool.
And so...
My ex-wife's parents do that, too.
Well, see, Jason, he didn't know. He takes to school that, they get all these bees and whatnot, but he doesn't understand that without all those bees...
The world's gone.
Yeah. Something so small and so simple.
So many plants depend on that
for pollination. Their reproduction. It's kind of like the same thing as, do you know that most of the trees in the world have been are there because of squirrels, because they've hidden their nuts for the winter, but out of all the nuts they collect, they probably only remember where about 30 to 40% of them are, I think is what the numbers said. So then all those other nuts stay there and turn into trees.
Squirrel!
And that's pretty awesome, and that just shows how everything is tied together. Just like every person is tied together, everything is tied together.
Well,
every creature,
I mean, and it sucks too, because there are a lot of things out there that I see no real reason for. Like, certain viruses and certain, I don't know how to put it.
We create a lot of those.
Well, we create a lot of them, yes, but then a lot of them are created in nature as well.
But also some of that is just nature's way of...
population control.
Exactly, because
there has to be a predator. All right, I'll give you a situation, all right? There was this town in Indiana that they stopped hunting. You were not allowed to hunt. Well, their deer population became so overpopulated at that point that they were starving. There was not enough food for them, so they had a special hunt come in and kill deer, take our population down. You have to use it to eat meat.
Don't worry, Rudolph flew away.
This is not trophy.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say Tommy wears them, I think.
Oh, God.
But it took the population down to a point where there was enough food in the environment for their natural process. Now, us as humans, we have the ability to create our own, maintain our own supply, and it's just a matter of doing it. And we kind of mismanage it because people think, well, I made the supply, pay me.
Well, I mean, starting in the beginning, if you think about the plague, to begin with.
God.
Okay.
The Black Plague.
Yeah, that was its own population control because we didn't know we didn't have our own home training, basically.
You know what I found out about that recently? That the church called cats creatures of the devil, I believe that's what it was. So they had to get rid of all cats, and they went around and they killed cats. So the cats didn't control the rats. The rats had the fleas bit the people, passed on the plague. Just because the church said cats are the devil.
Were they going against Egypt there?
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I was
all these
making a
churches,
joke.
all these religions, is that they all are in conflict with each other. And a lot of wars that have even looked back in history are started with the church and against the religions because we all have different beliefs. But the common core of all beliefs is we believe in something greater than ourselves. Okay? It doesn't matter who it is.
Who, what?
Yeah, because you know what? I'm sure Jesus existed.
Well,
he was a man that existed, and yeah, he may have been.
I know a
who he
little
said he
bit.
is.
I know a little bit about AA and that, and they tell you to find your higher power. Your higher power may not even be a religion. You know what I'm saying?
It's
See, I've read that. I've read those tenets of it, and I was sitting there going, so basically, the way I read it, though, is exactly it was saying that you had to find God in a way. The way I read it, and I'm sitting here like, that's kind of wrong though in a way.
No,
the way they're doing it, because the way I read it, they shouldn't be saying you need to find God. They should be saying you need to find what your higher power is, or to me, as Neil deGrasse Tyson said it, you need to find out what your truth is.
Well, basically what it is, and see, it's open to interpretation. Exactly. You know, to me, my God tells me that I'm fucking up and you're a complete dumbass, and you know what? That's how I talk on a regular basis. My higher power looks like a junkie who got clean because while I wasn't a junkie and I wasn't that far out there, I'm a drug addict, okay? I need
to the
something
point where
to
it's
make me feel.
affected your life negatively.
To where, yeah, I need something to manage how I feel and how I function.
Right.
So therefore, I had to find something greater than myself to believe in because I have issues with God. I don't know who the hell he is, but you know what? I got issues with it. Because where we all focus on religions, we all turn to something greater than ourselves when we are sad, when we're scared, when we're happy. We all turn to that something greater than ourselves.
Your greater than yourself could be a purpose too. It could be your purpose. I'm going to do good so that I provide something better for my kids, so that they have a better opportunity than I did. That could be your higher power, your purpose.
Your higher power, I mean, it's something that you cannot fix, manage, and control everything.
Right.
We are not the ringmasters of our own little circus, and this is not just our world. Because honestly, I think I'm the fucking ringmaster half the time. I run the fucking show. But you know what? Really? I'm the fucking cause of all my problems. Because my bright ideas don't get me very far. And sometimes I need to actually think of and talk to something greater than myself. And I don't know if it's God. I don't know if it's Jesus. I don't know who the hell it is. But you know what? Something out there is greater than me.
I talk to myself a lot.
I do. I answer myself too. I'm fucking retarded, but it's okay.
No, I do. I do. I sit there. I'll be talking to myself in my head constantly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's conversations I have with myself that I wouldn't have with other people because then they would know just how nuts I am. But I could sit there and logically talk myself out of things. I've talked myself out of a panic attack before because I knew what was going on in my head, even though my body was sitting here doing other things. And I just basically was like, I know this is a panic attack. I know I need to calm down. You know what I'm saying? I've had lots of things that I have logically talked myself out of.
Right.
So there's also those moments for me that, like, I should be dead by now. Quite honestly. It is not for anything drug related. It's the things that we go through on a day-to-day basis that, I mean, quite honestly, things happen that we can't explain.
Yeah.
On a different level, that there's a divine power, because, you know, there's good and there's bad, and we can't control that, but we can look to something greater than ourselves. You know, if you want to go back as far as Egypt and the slavery, what they did then is they looked to something greater than themselves to believe in, because that belief gave us hope.
There you go.
Which fired us to actually keep doing the next right thing. That hope gave us faith that something would get better.
And if you think faith don't work, if you think belief don't work, look at a placebo. If you believe you got the medicine and you really got a sugar pill, well, guess what? It heals you anyway.
if I believe that, something out there has got my best interest in hand, if I keep doing the next right thing, instead of going and taking the easy way out and doing the shitty things that we can all go and do, because it's real hard to do the right thing and it's real easy to do the wrong thing.
It is very true.
I mean, we all know right from wrong. We all come with that moral compass.
It's kind of like how they say in Christianity, what was it about the path to heaven is small and narrow, and it's easy to fall off of.
It is. But see, a lot of us, we see something that we want, and we forget to refocus ourselves. We don't know how to take baby steps to keep doing the next right thing. One step at a time, we get overwhelmed, and we give up. And you don't truly fail, because you know what? You can screw up every time. I've made a lot of mistakes.
Everybody nowadays seems to be in this mode for instant gratification.
Instant gratification is
I've had to teach my son about that, because he's wanted instant gratification, because most things in his life are instant. And I keep trying to remind him, buddy, you need to learn patience, because guess what? Not everything happens like that.
Mm-hmm. And as we were talking with addicts, that's the easy part for an addict. You get your fix, you get your instant gratification, you change the way you feel instantly. Where to have true growth, what we call organic growth, comes over time through, as you're saying, just the baby steps. Doing the next thing in line, doing the next right thing. Does that mean you're not going to stumble? No. Does not.
You can't grow if you don't push yourself out of your comfort zone.
That's it. And you can never get somewhere if you don't keep moving forward.
And like me, I've heard, when I don't know what to do, I don't do nothing. Because, I seem to think I have the answer for everything. I always gotta have the last word, because that's me. And it's not that I have to be right. I don't have to be wrong. But I have to come up with an answer for something, because my insanity tells me that if I keep doing the same thing, but I'm going to come up with a different way to do it, but I'm still doing the same damn thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result.
That's the definition of insanity.
I'm still going to find my own way to do it. I'm just going to go about it a different way, slightly different, but I'm still doing the same damn thing.
Right.
And see, that's what a lot of us are doing. We keep doing the same thing, going on the same little hamster wheel over and over and over and over again, expecting something to change.
Right.
When, if you don't push yourself out of your comfort zone, if you don't push yourself and take that chance to actually be able to try something new, to look at something, because I can sit here and look at you right now, and I can tell you what I see, but see, if I go stand over there where Johnny's at, he can see something that I didn't see, because he's standing in a different angle.
Yeah, that brings
perspective.
That brings a good thing of perspective. It's like this old story, all right? Two guys are looking at a fish. One's looking at it from the side. One's looking at it from the front. The guy looking at it from the side describes it. He's looking at a fish. The guy looking at it from the front describes it. Big mouth, eyes on the side of its head. Looks like it's got scales and big lips. Who knows what the heck it is, because he doesn't have the bigger picture from his perspective.
We focus so much on what we see in front of us instead of looking at the bigger picture. That where, I can see what's right in front of me right now. And I can also see the bigger picture around me, but I get so focused on what is right in front of me that I forget about everything else going on around me.
Yes.
It's where everything else that goes around has play in what is going on in front of me as well.
Of course.
It's like a lot of the fucking Newton's law. Which one?
Newton's law is gravity.
Okay, the object emotional stay in motion.
Object emotional stay in motion, object at rest.
Yeah, stay at rest. So if I stay at rest and I do nothing, nothing will change.
Now, I actually heard something. I talk a lot of, physics theory and things like that with people, and I'm not schooled on it, so I'm not knowledgeable. I'm just interested, and I've heard that they believe that's not completely true. Something about traveling through space, you actually will continue to slow down. But that actually makes sense.
It does.
Because space is not empty; it's full of particles. That's why
Everything is
particle
just a sea of
acceleration.
atoms and particles.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I mean, we stay in orbit around this because of gravity from each.
Centrifugal force.
Yes.
To the sun, and then pulled back by, say, Jupiter.
Yeah, so that's why everything stays where it's going.
Hey, quit talking about my butt.
You know what? Is it bad that there's a road over in Louisville that's Uranus that every time I drive past it I giggle like a little girl?
No,
I giggle every time.
I want to know where this road is so I can go past it and have a good giggle.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like I drive past it quite often and it's like Uranus. You know, I'm
Gonna
horrible.
make a snowman.
Hey, what do asteroids and meteoroids have in common?
What?
They're both found around Uranus.
You know, I've always wondered.
No. It's hemorrhoids and asteroids. What do asteroids and hemorrhoids have in common? They're both found around Uranus.
I've always wondered about that though. Why do they call the ones in space asteroids and then the ones on your butt hemorrhoids? Shouldn't they be called asteroids?
It's like, why do you park on a driveway and drive on a parkway?
Exactly.
Man.
But if you think about it though, I kind of, this is my theory on why they call them asteroids though.
Okay.
Astral.
That makes sense.
Astral meteor. Well, you can't just say, you know, this is just a term down for it as an asteroid.
Right.
Because it comes from outer space, which is to us the astral area.
That's a plausible theory. I like it.
And also, too, just think about all the things we don't see because our eyes only see so much. All the things going around us that we can't see because we don't see in those spectrums yet.
And that's crazy. We only hear in certain spectrums. We only see in certain spectrums.
We only taste in certain
Alright, how do you
spectrums.
catch
We
a
only
unique
feel
rabbit?
in certain spectrums, too.
Okay.
How do you catch a unique rabbit?
Oh,
You shut up.
You've done this to me and I completely forgot it.
Sneak up on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's like dad jokes.
exact mom jokes.
Mom jokes.
Look,
Parent jokes.
I have cheesy jokes. But they're funny.
That's awesome.
I helped her with her kids to amaze them one day. I gave her some hell smoke to play with for them.
Oh, that's awesome. That crazy where you
Yeah,
snap.
where you rub your stuff
You
and
know, but see, Jesse, he'll sit there and be like, no, she's got a quarter, and she puts fire to it. I says, you can put fire to any quarter. I says, but without me, you can't do it. It's mommy magic.
Ooh.
It's mommy magic.
Ooh.
And now, look, like my daughter, oh my god, like today, like I'm pretty sure that like I'm gonna punch a 5-year-old and like maybe it's like several of them. She's 4 and she just started at Head Start and she's boy crazy for some reason all of a sudden. And you know what? She's just like me and it's scary because like while I was never really boy crazy, at the same time like she scares me. Like I'm pretty sure she can manhandle a few of them, but like there's boys and no. Like I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna punch a 5-year-old over her. Because she tried to tell me this earlier when I took her to breakfast that she's going to go on vacation with 3 boys and 3 girls, and I'm like, okay, you know, she's argumentative, she's like me, she has an answer for everything. Okay, well, what's their name? What's their mom's name? What's their dad's name? What do they even look like? Who are these people? Because, you know, this just comes out of blue that she's going to go on vacation with her friends, and I'm like, the fuck do you think you're talking about, going on vacation with your friends? Who the hell are these people? And there's going to be boys there. She's fascinated with boys right now to the point that, like, she will sit there and have giggle fits and not even say a word. Not a word, but, like, giggles. And
And you
giggles.
saw a picture of Justin Bieber and it scared you.
Dude,
I don't blame you.
I don't know.
Not the bee.
Nothing against the Biebs.
Dude, I don't know. I just know that, like, I need an alibi if, like, I punch 5-year-old because, like, I'm...
Look, remember, it's not waterboarding if you use diesel fuel.
Speaking of waterboarding,
Oh my god.
by the way,
No.
I know somebody. I have a volunteer. Well, I can't say he's volunteering. Like,
I admit to nothing.
I know
did not hear
nothing.
this
la la
conversation.
la. Y'all can't hear this, okay? But like, we might.
Yeah, they can. We're on live.
No. This is an illusion.
Oh.
This is all hypothetical shit.
Hypothetical.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, it says there's no missing persons report. There's no missing person. There's no body. There's no murder.
Man.
Just
Have we been watching the first 48 too much or something? Or,
Right.
you know,
I mean-
How to Get Away with Murder?
I know how
to do it.
Like I said,
Then-
I have a good thing about attention to detail.
Right.
And I've learned a long time ago that you do shit alone. You don't ever have an accomplice with you.
This is great. This has been an awesome show. Unfortunately, we're getting to the end of the time frame we have allotted. This is.
What the hell, man?
I hope y'all have been as entertained as I have. This
I'm
has been
entertained.
amazing.
Are you not entertained?
Well, the real entertainment is who's on the naughty and nice lists. That's what we
Right.
all need to think about
For our
here.
Christmas episode,
I admit to nothing.
I hope you enjoyed that.
Now, I would like to say, not just a Christmas episode, this is our winter holiday episode. Whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Yule, Christmas, happy holidays to every one of you.
Yeah, Judaism, whatever.
I hope everybody has a beautiful time and has enjoyed being here with us. Once again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see more of us. Hit that notification bell. Get that little ding. Yeah, let you know every time we put out another show. We're putting out one every other Wednesday now. So, and also, BLive. Feel free to join us on BLive. We actually stream our recordings live. Again, you get to see every little mistake we make. If there's a cut that we have to trim out or anything like that, guess what? You get to see it on BLive.
And you get to see it before we put it out.
Right.
You get to watch it live as we're making it.
And to all of our people, that don't know how to get on BLive is if you go to your Play Store and you sign up as a beta tester, get the BitTorrent app, and there will be a little B in the bottom corner. That's BLive. Sign up. Find us. I'm going to put the profile in the links. I've got them with us now. You can talk with us. Maybe you have some information on one of the topics we're talking about.
Maybe you want to become a guest if it's within our possibility to make it happen.
If you're going to be in our area, feel free to contact us. And maybe we can arrange for you to be a guest on the show. But it's been really great to have y'all here. And I hope you've enjoyed spending time with us.
That's Adam.
That's Johnny.
That's Marianne.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
I'm in all of them.
Oh, man. Been a great time.
Bye, guys.
Y'all have a
And
good
girls.
Later.